Looking back on 2015, it was a pretty fantastic year for video games. We had titles we expected to do well, live up to the hype, and we had games that surprised us coming up and really being better than expected. And then of course we had titles that ultimately disappointed. Now looking ahead to 2016, there's a lot to be excited about. And here in this video, I'm going to recap my 5 most anticipated titles of the year. Number 5, Mass Effect Andromeda. Despite how you may feel about the ending of the original trilogy, it's safe to say that the Mass Effect universe is a fun one to explore. With lots of interesting stories, characters, customization, Mass Effect is a pretty cool franchise. With Andromeda, we'll be stepping into a whole new galaxy both far away and long after the events of the original trilogy. And while we may expect to see some remnants from that story, this is a fresh experience. We'll be making new friends, meeting new foes, and facing new trials and tribulations. This upcoming action role-playing third-person shooter is set to release in holiday of 2016, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it reminds us why we fell in love with Mass Effect in the first place. Number 4, Dark Souls 3. You know, the first Dark Souls game absolutely swept me away. I played obsessively for weeks on end. Between the unique combat, enemy, and world design, I was brought back to the wonder of exploring a game world that I hadn't felt since I was a kid. And then Dark Souls 2 happened. Nope, none of that, for me, was the case. Dark Souls 2 didn't pull me in, but it is for the very reason that I love Dark Souls the original that I'm hoping Dark Souls 3 is a good game. This upcoming third-person action RPG will be increasing the focus on role-playing, with also having a larger and more interconnected game world to encourage exploration. It's currently set for release in March of 2016. Let's hope they hit that Dark Souls charm. Number 3, XCOM 2. How in the world could they screw this up? The first XCOM is one of the only games that ever got me interested in turn-based strategy. XCOM 2 is gonna be more of that, and that's a fantastic thing. This upcoming turn-based strategy game will be set in a world controlled by the aliens. We'll be seeing new soldiers and abilities, more customization, and brand new enemies. The game is set to launch in February 2016, and I can tell you from already having play experience that there's almost no way they could let me down. Number 2, Overwatch. You know, every time I talk about this game, I am filled with a profound sadness that is the fact that Project Titan will never see the light of day. I can't say, though, that I'm disappointed in what came out of that failure. Overwatch is a team-focused first-person hero shooter that is very likely bits and pieces of what Blizzard's next major MMO was supposed to be. What we're left with, though, is a pretty amazing team-based experience with unique characters and abilities, an interesting game world and varied levels, maybe at the moment a few too little objectives. That's something that they've got time to work on before its planned release in the spring of 2016. This is Blizzard's first new IP in over 10 years, their first step into the FPS genre, but they have nailed it. The shooting feels amazing, the animations are great, and as already mentioned, some unique and interesting characters and game world. Really, there's no way Overwatch won't be a hit. Number 1, Tom Clancy's The Division. You know, I struggled with the placement of this game on my top 5 list. The reason I decided to put it at number 1 is it's because it's the game that I'm hoping is going to be the best. Here's the thing. This is a third-person squad-based shooter set in a post-viral disaster New York. But more importantly to me, it's an MMO with a massive, persistent world to explore. The MMO shooter genre is one that it's safe to say is untapped. We've had many attempts that have seen varying degrees of success, but ultimately left me unsatisfied. This has so much potential as a game type that every one of these that is new and upcoming is going to be one of my most anticipated games, and that is exactly why Tom Clancy's The Division is here in this number 1 spot. I'm not even going to talk to you about the planned features of the game, the things that they've said are going to happen. I am just going to say this is a genre that needs to be done right and hasn't up until this point. We need a big MMO world with interesting PvP, character customization, PvE elements, questing, role-playing, all of that stuff in this massive expansive world, it really up until this point has yet to be done to a satisfactory level for myself personally. So as it stands at this very moment, Tom Clancy's The Division is my most anticipated game of 2016, and if this one doesn't live up to what I'm hoping, we're just gonna have to wait until the next one is announced and released. As it stands, The Division plans to release in March of 2016. That is right around the corner, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it ends up being my game of the year. And with that, guys, we'll be wrapping up this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed my 5 most anticipated games of 2016. Stay tuned, as I'll be likely covering these games in the future and others that catch my attention. Hope you all have a fantastic afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.